Yeah, my best piece of advice, and I tell all of my clients this, all my coaching members, anybody I run into, you won't profit unless you implement. So we've talked about, I don't know how many dozens of ideas today. You've probably heard dozens others on other podcasts. I know I'm sure Jay has got just plenty of information. Pick one idea. Just pick one thing you heard and go do it and try it. Because otherwise, we've just been on the, you've been listening to us for the last 50 minutes and, you're ready to get off the treadmill or get out of the car, and it's been a nice time. Do something. You have to do something in order to move the needle, in order to move your business forward. So you won't profit unless you implement. Take one idea and go try it.
Pick one idea and go try it. All right. Welcome back to the Winner Circle podcast with Jay, the show where we uncover the secrets to success, not just only success, resilience, and personal growth. I'm your host, Jay, as you already know, and today's episode is one you won't want to miss. It's very important for you as a business owner. We are going to be diving into the intersection of marketing and customer service and how you can use direct response marketing not just to sell, but to serve. So at the heart of this episode is a simple idea. Marketing should be purposeful, measurable, and rooted in genuine customer relationships. So joining us today is someone who has mastered this craft, Vance Morris. Vance is a customer experience expert, former leader at Walt Disney World, and the founder of Deliver Service Now Institute. He's worked closely with the legendary Dan Kennedy and has helped over 1,000 businesses enhance their customer experience through systematic Disney-styled services. So let's get into it. Vance, welcome to the Winner Circle.
Thank you so much, Jay. I look forward to this.
All right. So you spent over a decade at Walt Disney. What lessons from that experience to guide your approach towards, customer service and marketing today?
Certainly. Well, above and beyond what Disney's known for, I mean, they are the gold standard for customer experience and things like that. The big lesson I really took is that Disney runs on systems and processes, and those systems and processes give us freedom to do other things. So when I was creating some of my home service businesses, we made sure that we had customer experience systems in place. We also have marketing systems that are in place. And while I could tell you all about how we learned how to pick up trash and answer the telephone nicely and how to be nice to people, the real big lesson I got really was that you need to have systems in your business so that you can consistently deliver an incredible, extraordinary experience. And you also need business systems in place, marketing, accounting, etc., operation systems, so that your employees know what they need to deliver and it's delivered consistently, and you're known in your marketplace as pretty much, the Disney of plumbers or the Disney of, whatever you do in your niche.
It's always very important to, put system into place. And that's the note I got from what you said. So now, how has this experience shaped your business philosophy?
My overall philosophy?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
In business. Yeah.
So, certainly Disney is a very detailed oriented business, as we all should be. If you stop looking at the details, things will start to fall apart very quickly. So I have 3 home service businesses that I still own in addition to the coaching and consulting that I do. And, I firmly believe that that attention to detail is paramount, and it sets the stage for the experiences that people are going to have. I mean, let's think if you're sitting in the dentist's office and you're in the waiting room and you look over and there's a dusty houseplant. Well, geez, what does that say about the cleanliness of that office? Does it make you nervous about going and having them put stuff in your mouth? Is that stuff clean? And the other philosophy that I really picked up was actually a philosophy of Walt Disney, which was plussing. which is constant process improvement or constant improvement. So he designed those parks to continuously evolve with the times. You couldn't just rest on your laurels and expect things to be profitable. Because if we had, we'd had the same rides as we had back in the 1950s and nobody would be going there anymore. So we really, once you've created a system, let it run and let it deliver what you're looking for. And then maybe 6 or 12 months later, revisit that system and say, okay, well, how can we do this just a little bit better?
Right. So from the notes what you spoke about, one thing I looked at is there's still one strategy, apart from all the regular strategy you talked about that almost everybody knows Disney about, and is all about customer service, providing top-notch environment for, where people feel like they are part of that system. So what's one behind the scene Disney strategy that you think every entrepreneur should know about, apart from the one everybody knows?
Sure. Well, one that I think everybody should know about is offering what Disney is very good at, which is anticipatory service, essentially anticipating what your customer wants before they even ask for it. So a great example of that would be, let's say it's a really hot day out and you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you ask for a glass of water and the server says no. Now, we would all agree that that is bad service. And so let's take the same hot day. You walk into a restaurant, you sit down, you ask the server for a glass of water. They bring the glass of water. To me, that's adequate service. Now, if you want to have extraordinary service, we take the same hot day. So same hot day, we walk into the restaurant and there at the host stand is a server holding a tray with both still and sparkling water saying, hey, we know it's really hot outside. Can we offer you some water before we take you to your table? So Disney knows how to anticipate what people are going to ask for before they ask for it. And that, I think, is what gives them their competitive edge, is that they're always on the lookout for cues and clues from their guests, body language or facial expressions that are those telltale signs that something's not right or they have a question, or so that's the trigger. That's the thing to get them to get involved and say, hey, what can we do to?
Hello and welcome back. You guys, the listeners, are my powerhouse. So I have something I want to discuss with you guys today. So before we dive into today's episode, I want to shine a spotlight on an incredible opportunity that could revolutionize the way you approach your business. So now the question is, are you ready to take your business to the next level? Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or a team member striving for excellence, I want to say Point of View Consulting in New York is your partner in strategic transformation. Whether you are in Texas or you are in whatever the city you are in, so far you're in the United States, they are helping businesses transform their business. So they are not just a consulting firm, they are your catalyst for change, a coaching powerhouse, and a branding leader, all rolled into one. At Point of View Consulting, their services includes strategic consulting, executive coaching, brand development, and performance optimization. And one interesting thing about this brand, Point of View Consulting, is right now they're offering an exclusive free consultation just for you. Now, this is your own chance to gain invaluable insight at no cost. Plus, when you decide to move forward with any services, just use the promo code Winner Circle Podcast to receive a hefty 30% discount on your services fee. It's simple. Imagine the transformation you could achieve with an expert guidance and a fresh perspective. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. I want you to visit www.pointofviewconsultinginc.com. So that is Point of View Consulting NC.com today to book your complimentary consultation and embark on a journey of growth and success. Now, let's get back to the show. So, anticipation anticipating what your customers want or their needs is very important in business, correct?
Yes. And it's important in our businesses as well. I mean, um, knowing, and it's important in any industry. I mean, if you're a financial planner or a carpet cleaner, it doesn't really matter. We all have what I would call frequently asked questions about our businesses. And we should really head those off at the pass, before they ever get asked. We should say, hey, I know you might be worried about your carpet staying wet for a long time if we clean it. Well, with our process, that's completely not true. Typically, the carpet's dry by the time we're ready to leave. Or maybe with a financial advisor, I know you might be worried about the economy these days, but with our investing system, we're broadly set up so that not one part of any of the economy will affect your returns. I'm not a financial planner, so I'm just kind of grabbing at straws for that one. But you set them at ease and you anticipate what they're going to ask.
Thank you for that response. So now let's move a little bit of Disney. Let's move to the direct response marketing itself. I look at your profile and I've done a little bit of research about your brand, and I see you work closely with Dan Kennedy, one of the biggest names in direct response marketing. What was it like, and how has it influenced the way you teach and coach business owners today?
Working with Dan I wish I could bring a recorder with me every time I go, because the ideas come so quickly. I can't write that fast. His brain, he is not just in marketing, but in business. He has this ability to see through all of the junk, all of the BS, and get right to the root of the problem, and get to a root of a problem that you don't even know you have, but will solve everything that you've got. He's just absolutely brilliant. And I encourage any of your listeners, if you can find any book by Dan Kennedy, please go out and study him, because he will move your business light years ahead. And for me, though, and Jay, I'm not sure how much your audience knows about direct response, but it is the style of marketing that every small business should be doing. It is a style of marketing that we expect a response when we put an ad out there. So if we send $1 out in an ad, we expect that dollar to bring a whole bunch of his dollar buddies back with him, or at least bring some information back, in exchange. So an email or name. So, my philosophy on direct response is that we don't have, as small business owners, we don't have the budget for like Walmart or Coca-Cola or Disney. And I use like Goodyear blimp as an example. Here, if you go to any NFL football game in America, they've got this big blimp for Goodyear tires that flies over the stadium. And I make a bet. I said, I bet you I could call Goodyear and ask their marketing department, so how many tires did that blimp sell when it was over top of the stadium? They've got no idea whatsoever. It might have sold 0. It might have sold 100, but nobody knows. As a small business, we can't afford to say, I don't know about our marketing. We need to know exactly what our marketing brings in. So everything has to be measured, and there's no excuse. So, I mean, if you're working with a content person, I was going to say I had a conversation. Actually, I had an argument with a content creator, and she sells her services, and she tells her clients, yeah, it's going to be 6 to 9 months before we see any results. 6 to 9 months? You're a charlatan. You're stealing from people. 6 to 9 months. You need to see results on the first thing. If you spend $10 on an ad, you better see some results, not 9 months. Oh my God. So, I mean, you can tell I'm a little passionate about this. I don't know. So, whether it be client attraction or client retention, direct response is the method that, is for a small business. It's got to have a compelling headline. You've got to be talking to your audience. So, I mean, you can't just say everyone in town, because, well, everyone is probably not your target audience. It's probably a subset of that. It's got to have an offer. It's got to have a clear way or multiple ways to respond. There's a whole set. Actually, Kennedy's got, I think it's like 10 rules for a direct response ad. And he probably, I'm embarrassed, I can't remember all 10, but I got 5.
Yeah, we're going to go through that 5 shortly. So now, when people hear the word marketing, it sounds a little bit aggressive. And when people hear the word direct response marketing, they think of aggressive sales, maybe sales tactics. So can you help us rephrase or reframe that term? What's the
Mm-hmm.
art of it?
So I think really, if we were to rename this style, I would call it response required marketing. It's a little bit softer, but I think a lot of marketers don't like it because they can sell to their clients and not have to worry about results. Because they don't want to get a lot of results because, oh well, we'll try this, and oh yeah, it takes 3 months for that to work, and so with direct response or response required, you're immediately saying that whatever ad we run, whatever marketing campaign, sales letter, what have you, that we are expecting a response. Now, a response doesn't have to mean a sale. Okay, especially if you're going to a cold list or if you're doing a mass mailing or or a newspaper ad or anything. But the response could just be an exchange of information. So we'll, special reports and free downloads and things like that. I mean, you see them all the time online. And the reason you see them all the time online is because they work. So you'll if you see something online that says, 52 ways to wow your customers, just enter your name and email. Okay, well, if you want to learn how to wow your customers and that's appealing to you, you'll give up your name and email to download that little hot sheet, the 52 ways. And so no sale has begun, right? So now, though, me as the business owner or the marketer, now we have something precious. We have information. We have contact information for this person, and we can, I don't like the word drip, but we can continue to market to them until they are ready to buy, because not everybody's ready to buy when you're ready to sell. So, now, and especially if you have a big ticket item, it might take some educating of the prospect before they're ready to purchase. And so I think that when you're going through this, now you can send an email and say, hey, did you enjoy the 52 ways to wow? What was your favorite way? And now you start an engagement campaign, and it's not sell, sell, sell. Now you're trying to have a conversation with the person. And then maybe a couple of days into it, you can say, hey, if you enjoyed that report, I wrote a book on customer experience. I'd be more than happy to send you a free copy. Just go here and pay shipping and handling, and I just need your mailing address. Now we got like the holy grail. We've got their mailing address. Now we can send them postcards and newsletters and direct mail. So again, when you're doing this, you don't need an immediate sale in order for it to be sent So can I give you a quick example?
Go ahead.
I was working with a client yesterday, and he sent out, he has very high client value. So when he signs on a client, they're worth $20,000 to $30,000. So he sent out a rubber foot with a sales letter that said, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And then, kind of like the Gary Halbert letter, why am I sending this dollar bill to you? And so he sent out 15. He got 4 replies. So that's about 30% to cold mail. 30%. That's incredible. One was, okay, yeah, that was cute. I'm not really interested, but that's okay. And 3, set a meeting with him. Now, I told him, I said, don't blame the marketing if you don't close a sale, because the marketing has done its job. Marketing has extremely done a good job. It's your sales process now that's screwed up if you don't do it. So, I mean, that's a method of direct response that, is, again, you're measuring and, your lifetime value of your client, and you can tell what you can spend.
All right. Thank you so much. So now I'm also thinking about when you were making your statement, you talked about something you got from Dan, 10 lists that you got from Dan. Can you share with us?
Can I share? I'm sorry.
You talked about the list of, the list you got from Dan Kennedy when it comes to the list that when it comes to direct response marketing. Yes, correct.
Oh my God, you're going to ask me that. Hang on.
No, you can share the 5 with us and we don't mind.
Well, so it's certainly number one, it will have a headline. So, and that's vital. Your headline is designed to grab the attention of the reader and only for your target market. So let's say small business owners, are your target market. So it would say all business owners. So now, if you're not a small business owner, you're not going to read the rest of the ad because it doesn't apply to you. And then you would have a subheading, are you sick and tired of content marketers taking advantage of you? Wow, yeah, I've had a couple of people try and sell me this crap. So each line, the only job of the headline is to get you to read the next line. And then the only job of that line is to get you to read the next line. As I mentioned, there will always be an offer, whether it be a discount, whether it be a certain amount of dollars off, whether it be what we discussed with the lead magnet, an offer for information. Definitely. There will always be urgency. So a deadline. So only available to the first 14 people that call, or expires in 1 week. So that's to get people up off their butts and take action. So we certainly want to have that. Testimonials are great to have if you can fit it in your ad, you definitely want to have testimonials. You do not want anything in there that is distracting from your message or that does not carry your message. So one thing that I always see, especially with like plumbers and electricians, they always have a picture of their van in the ad. Now, what the hell does the van have to do with plumbing? We assume you're going to drive to the house to fix the plumbing. You're going to come in on some kind of vehicle, but that van does not help your ad at all. It's just wasting space that you could have put something else that would help, like a testimonial. There should be no platitudes. Okay? And by platitude, I mean, is it something that anybody could say about their business? And if you took out your business name and you shoved in a competitor's name, they could say the same thing. So like, in business since 1952. Well, who cares? There's no competitive advantage to that, and now that it's 2025, do you really want the guy who was working in 1952 working on your pipes? The guy's going to have a stroke or something. We don't want that. So if it's not moving them towards taking an action, we don't want it in the ad at all. See? Is better than making it look like a slick production. So does it look like it was done by a graphic designer from New York City and they really, they put this and it costs thousands and thousands of dollars? Or if you're a small business, an entrepreneur, does it look like you put it together yourself? Because if it looks like that, you've got a much better chance of getting a response because now you look like a regular guy or a regular gal that might be your next door neighbor. So yeah, those I think I got 6 there out of the 10.
What you got there is perfect. That's enough for any budding entrepreneur or business owner leader to be able to understand how to navigate sales, or I'll call it direct response marketing with purpose. With that word, with purpose is very important. So now I want to ask if you have a real world example where excellent service and smart marketing came together to drive a long-term growth.
So where experience and marketing connect, is that what you're looking?
Yes, connecting with service, because that's what we're trying to look at is service marketing. We want to see how we can combine that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. So a lot we find that on the customer retention side, because that's where a lot of businesses fall down. You'll probably agree it is very expensive to get a new client. So for my businesses, here in the States, it cost me $120 to get a new client in the front door for my carpet cleaning business. It only cost me $20 to market to them for the entire year to my existing customers. So when I clean for an existing customer, I'm already $100 more profitable because I don't have to acquire them again. I don't have that cost anymore. So when you're serving your customer, whether you have a product and they're using your product, whether you're delivering a service, that is the service. That is the experience that you're providing. And that is setting the stage for whether they're going to do business with you again. Remember, Walt Disney said it so well, we want people to come back again and again and again. And so he's talking about customer retention, getting people to come back and see what we're doing again and again. And so that experience sets the stage for retention. And this is where most business owners fail, is that the service is over and then they never reach out to their existing customers ever again. Hardly ever. And if they do, it's because they're having a sale. Now, I don't know about you, but if the only time I ever hear from somebody is when they want money, that's not a relationship. That's a transaction. So I recommend, if you want to put a titanium fence around your clients to keep them in and keep your competitors out, you need to be in constant contact with them, both digitally and physically through the mail. And this is where the intersection of the experience and the service and the marketing come in. So I recommend 3 steps on retaining customers. First is a newsletter, print and in the mail. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. For me, I do a 4-page full color newsletter. If you want to do a 1-page, that's fine. But you don't want anything salesy in there. You want stuff that's going to create emotional connections. So, for example, I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. So my daughter, she's 17 now, but when she was younger, like 5, 6 years old, she did ballet. And so every year I'd take a picture of her at the recital in her little tutu, and I'd put it in the newsletter. And I think she was like 10 or 11 years old, and we were in the grocery store, and this lady came running up to us and said, "Oh my God, Emma, how was your recital?" We're like, who the hell is this? We're ready to run and hide. And then I had to think, oh, she must be one of my customers. That lady is never leaving me because I have created an emotional connection with her. She's not going anywhere. She's mine for life. So that's what the newsletter is for, is to create that connection with your customers. Then I would send a postcard once a month. Send a postcard. And the postcard, that's your sales tool. That's your monthly offer. So now it doesn't feel like you're always just trying to sell to them because you just gave them the newsletter and that was entertaining and, engagement and things like that. Now it's okay to send them a postcard. It's got, your monthly offer on it. And then the third part is a weekly email. Don't need to send more. Weekly is fine. And it's a combination of the newsletter and the postcard. So you don't even have to do extra work. Just take something from the newsletter, an article, plunk it in there, and then take your offer, put it in the PS of the newsletter, and send it out. It is that simple. That system has built my businesses. So I've got 3 home service businesses here in Maryland in the United States running on autopilot because of those 3 systems. I've had them for 18 years now, which has allowed me to now do the coaching and consulting that I do. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. Actually, the simpler the system, the better. But it is that simple to take the experience and the service that you're providing while they're consuming your product, while you're delivering your service, sets the stage for customer retention.
The simpler, the better. Wow.
What's that?
I said the simpler, the better.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah, that was a big no. So now, I've read a whole lot of things about what you've been doing, and I've seen you've been able to help over 1,100 businesses improve their services and marketing. What's one client story that really stand out to you?
Sure. So I had a gentleman business owner who owns service stations. So they're like mechanic stations for automobiles, and he was getting beat up on price. He had 4 service stations in different towns, and his competitors were always putting out coupons, and it was a race to the bottom. I mean, it was like they were trying to Walmart him. I mean, it was just coupon after coupon, and he's like, "This is killing me. We're working hard. We're not making any money. My employees are exhausted. I don't have time to repair the building, and I can't take time off." I'm like, all right, well, and he was tired of the coupons, and I told him there is no competitive advantage to being second cheapest, right? You can't put an ad out that says, "Hey, we're the second cheapest. Come see us," because somebody's going to want to know, well, who's the cheapest? So I said, well, let's go the other direction. We can't be the cheapest, so let's go let's be the most expensive. So we designed a experience around this service station. And remember, they do oil changes and change flat tires. I mean, it's not sexy. And so now when you drive up, they have like 4 guys that come out of the service station. They have little bow ties, white shirts and gloves, and they open your car door for you, and they put the little sleeves on the seats, and they put the little plastic on the steering wheel, and they escort you into the waiting room, which looks like a Starbucks. And there's a barista in the waiting room of the oil change place. And the barista is actually one of the oil change technicians. They learned how to make coffee drinks. And the coffee drinks are included in the oil change. So you get to drink your favorite coffee while they're fixing your car. And we did a few other things, but those were the highlights. So the result of doing that was, one, we had significant price increase because we were able to provide this experience, and that appealed to a different demographic. So no longer were we attracting coupon clippers. We were attracting people that resonated with an experience. They desired an experience. They didn't want to be, in a dirty, nasty place. They wanted to be someplace clean. So we had a little bit less volume, but we more than made up for it in the addition of pricing. So it was extremely, extremely profitable. There was less wear and tear on the building, less wear and tear on the employees. They were actually happy because they weren't working as hard. And not to mention, once a week, they got to make coffee all day long. So they were very happy that they weren't underneath of an automobile changing oil. He's able to not work as hard and take time off. And we rolled this exact system out to all 4 of his service stations. So if we can do it with something as mundane and boring as oil changes, really there's not an industry or a service or a business that we can't really install some kind of service and experience system, get that price elasticity, that price change, and really make it a profitable business.
So experience is very key to, client retention. Experience is everything because people buy luxury brand just because of the experience,
Certainly.
Yeah, because if you see the news lately, they're talking about the real price of luxury items. People want a Rolls Royce because of the experience. It
Yes.
costs $500,000. It's a car. It's going to move from point A to point B. But the experience is what people just want. I want that experience. Just being a Rolls Royce and, whatever the thing, the leather is different. Marketing of that product itself is a powerful market itself. And it's not like, the experience is just the experience, but they are seeing the result of the experience. So if you talk about Rolls Royce, so when you sit down on the chair, yes, it's Rolls Royce, but when you sit down on the chair, you're gonna feel the chair. You're gonna know that these chairs are not just regular chairs. The softest of the leathers.
Sure.
And you're looking up, you're seeing the stars right there in front of you. You don't need you don't have to go to NASA to go see the sky how they look like. So it's right there in front of you, up there. You can even touch it. So that's the experience. Even if you go to Disney, a lot of people come from all over the world to experience Disney World. So that's why when they try to do the meta whatever, where you wear the glasses and you feel the experience, you can't feel it like when you're in Disneyland. Yes, you can wear the Meta. I've forgotten what they call the name, but I know there's a stuff you wear that you it's one of those glasses. I think Apple has
Virtual
one of those
reality.
products too. Virtual reality, but it's not real still. But it's still good experience too. But anyways, that's great. So moving forward, I see that when I look at your profile, I found out that you've received several awards for your work. So can you tell us about one that meant a lot to you and why?
Well, I think the one that I got from Dan Kennedy meant a lot. So I took my entire marketing system, client attraction, client service, client retention, and I mapped the complete thing out, including all of the examples of the postcards and the emails and the ads and everything I wrote, and present it to Dan. And I think there were probably 13 or 14 other finalists, and he picked me as the winner. And, is it like winning, the Super Bowl or winning the lottery? Well, in my world, it was. I mean, it was just like winning the Super Bowl because it wasn't so much. I mean, he gave me $1,000 and, a little trophy I have sitting on the shelf. But to me, it was just validation that I was doing the right thing. And that's what it really means. And it was also really part of the relationship I now have with Dan, because, he's mostly retired. He still has a few private clients and he does a little bit of writing. And he only communicates by fax. I don't know if you remember that. So I got a fax from him a few days ago. And so it's great to, that every once in a while we can stay in touch. So getting that award just really opened the relationship up with Dan, where I don't think if I hadn't entered or if I hadn't won, I don't think I would have had the great relationship with Dan Kennedy that I've got today.
That's great. That's great that you really appreciate the award you got from Dan. I know hopefully if there's the opportunity to win that award, probably I will try my best to get one of those and win it. Yeah,
You're going to have to come to Cleveland if you want to meet him.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try to win that award. All right. So for someone just getting started with purposeful marketing, what are the first 3 steps that they should take?
Well, first is they have to have what Kennedy actually calls is the message to media and market match. Those 3 things have to align. So when we're talking about your market, that is, who is your target market? Because you don't want to say, oh, let's run some Facebook ads if your target market is not on Facebook. Makes no sense. So that doesn't connect. Is your message, if you're talking to women, does your message sound like you're talking to, a bunch of construction worker guys? So when you're crafting your first campaign, crafting your first ads, look at one, who do you want to talk to? And niche it down as much as you can. So one of my clients, he is a luxury shampoo manufacturer, and his persona, the people he talks to, are postmenopausal women. So women that have gone through menopause and they have hair loss. So that's a very narrow, defined niche. But now he can talk to them. He can talk in their language, and they know he's talking their language because of how he's writing his message. Now that he knows who he's talking to, okay, where do postmenopausal women with hair loss hang out? Well, probably salons. So that could be a good place. There are support groups, whether they are online, Facebook, or they're in person, in larger cities and towns and things like that. So he can reach that market through the media that he needs. And now he just has to fine tune the message. And so that's where that triangle comes in of message, market, media, match. So that would be step number 1, is make sure you've got that dialed in, because if one of those things is missing, it's going to fail. And 2 is do not buy media from somebody who sells media. So if your local radio station comes and says, oh, hey, we got a special, it's $1,000 for 30 slots for the month, and we'll create the ad for you. Don't do it. Send me the $1,000. I'll spend it better than the radio station will. I guarantee that. You want to, because you don't know if your market listens to that radio station. I mean, it might be a country station and your people like rock and roll. Now it's $1,000 wasted. So that's why you don't want to buy from the media people. And you don't have to market big. So if you look at the value of a client, so this is, even if you're starting out, ask yourself if this customer or a customer stays with me for a lifetime, which you and I would both call, lifetime value of a customer, LTV. And let's say it's $5,000, just pull a number out. You need to know that number. It's vital, because that will tell you how much you can spend to acquire that customer. So would you spend $100 to acquire a customer that's worth $5,000? Of course. If there was a slot machine and I put in $100 and it spit out $5,000 every time, I'd sit there and play that thing all day long, because I'd be rich. So your competitors don't think like that, though. They think of the first sale and not lifetime value. So that's why they nickel and dime their marketing, because, I'm only going to make $100 on the first sale. I can't afford to spend $100 to get a client, because that just breaks even on the ad and I don't make any money. Well, that's being short-sighted. You need to look at the entire lifetime value. And if you spend $100 and their first sale is $100, okay, that's fine. But if you've got a great retention system, you know that they're going to, serve again, and they're going to buy again, and they're going to buy again, and now they're worth 5,000. That $100 was a great investment. So that's a vital number to know. And then what can you do with that $100? You can do a lot. I mean, you can send, shock and awe boxes. You can do mail campaigns. You can send a dancing bear to somebody's office if you really want to, which I've done, because that's the name of the game.
Hey, winners, as we continue our journey together today, I want to share something truly special with you. Over the years, I've had the privilege of coaching countless business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, guiding them to achieve breakthrough results and unlocking their full potential. So I'm opening up just 4 slots for my monthly business coaching program. That's right, 4 slots. After being fully booked for the past 3 years, if you're ready to elevate your business with personalized guidance, proven strategy, and a supportive community, I'm here to help you navigate challenges, refine your vision, and achieve your goals. So if you're committed to taking your business to the next level, I want to hear from you. Reach out to me directly at Jay at winnercirclewithj.com and discuss how we can work together to build the future your business deserves. So don't wait. This is your moment. Join Winner Circle and let's embark on this transformative journey towards success together. And now let's dive back into today's episode. That's the name of the game. So from the information you shared, you talked about you sharing a picture of your daughter, joining a dance class, right? Or in a dance class.
They were gas stations and they did repairs on cars.
No, you talked about your daughter.
Oh, yes, with ballet, yes.
Yeah, with ballet, yeah, exactly. So that's more of a storytelling itself. So what role do you think storytelling plays in creating a marketing that connects to people?
It's vital. I mean, any chance you get to use some part of your personality or your life in your marketing, you see, that's what's going to create the connection. So if you like to fish, great. Mention that, hey, we went fishing, here, and here's a picture of me and my 20-pound, fish. See, that's going to connect with anybody on your list who likes to fish. And then, next time around, you can joke about, oh, I've been, here's my second wife, Okay, great. Now you resonate with anybody who's been married more than once. So I do this a lot when I'm doing my keynote speaking is I seed my presentations with these little tidbits about myself so that I resonate with different parts of the audience. And you want to do that with your business because you'll resonate with different subsections of your audience and they'll feel like you're talking to, oh, he sounds like a regular guy. Oh, his kid does ballet. My kid does ballet. Oh, they do kung fu. Great. Yeah, my kid does kung fu. I connect there. Or, I like to knit yarn. Okay, great. Well, my grandmother used to do that, and I remember. Yeah, storytelling is probably one of the best ways to get your message out and to truly connect with your prospects and your customers.
So storytelling is key. And experience also is very key. Yes. This information you're sharing they are very powerful information. And if you're watching this program right now, just know that today is your lucky day because we have Vance Morris here to give us once in a lifetime information important. So
yes.
Are there any books or tools or resources you recommend to help people master direct response marketing?
Well, certainly Dan's book on which would be the No BS Guide to Direct Response Marketing for non-direct response marketing companies would be one, or The Ultimate Sales Letter. Those are 2 great Dan Kennedy books that you probably don't need anything else. Those 2 books will get you That'll keep you busy for years. There's a couple of the book that I wrote, Systematic Magic, 7 Magic Keys to Disneyfy Your Business, is actually a combination of customer service and direct response marketing mashed together into one book. So it's a combination of those two. I think if you got those 3 books, you'd be set for a good while.
Are there any final words for our listeners who want to turn their customer service into their best marketing tools?
Yeah, my best piece of advice, and I tell all of my clients this, all my coaching members, anybody I run into, you won't profit unless you implement. So we've talked about, I don't know how many dozens of ideas today. You've probably heard dozens others on other podcasts. I'm sure Jay has got just plenty of information. Pick one idea. Just pick one thing you heard and go do it and try it. Because otherwise, we've just been on the, you've been listening to us for the last 50 minutes and, you're ready to get off the treadmill or get out of the car, and it's been a nice time. Do something. You have to do something in order to move the needle, in order to move your business forward. So you won't profit unless you implement. Take one idea and go try it.
Pick one idea and go try it. So where can people connect with you and learn more about the Deliver Service Now Institute?
Yep, definitely. My website is deliverservicenow.com, and you can certainly connect with me there. And then I did mention if the free report that I was using as an example earlier, 52 ways to wow your customer without breaking the bank. So you got one wow for every week of the year, and most of them are low or no cost ways to really engage and wow and deliver a different kind of experience or service for your customers. And you can find that at
wow52ways.com. So a big thank you to Vance Morris for joining us today. And
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. And I hope to bring you on the show again so we can talk more about another angle of marketing. So for the listeners, I just don't want you guys to just come to just listen to this show and don't take a step. If you don't take a step, what's the purpose of the show? As a winner, you want to stay in the winner circle. You want to make sure you take an actionable step today. So what will make it work is get those tools, get those books that you talked about, the one from Dan and the one from him. Read about the book, read a lot, get more information, and you want a better business. So if you found this episode interesting, make sure you subscribe and make sure you leave a review and also share it to someone who you think needs to hear this. Always remember one thing: great marketing doesn't just sell. It serves. It builds trust. It builds loyalty, and it also builds long-lasting relationship. That's the winner circle way, and I want to believe that's also Vance's way. Until next time, keep serving, keep growing, and as I always say, stay in the winner circle. See you soon.